Is day 45 on Road to a Million. Today was a better day than yesterday, I would say. Yesterday, I think you guys noticed I was struggling a little bit. Wasn't sure what to do, wasn't sure where to go, primarily because I didn't really talk to anybody and I decided to go sit up in the mountains. Whereas today, essentially what I did was I ended up going, sign up a new comp plan on my 9 to 5 job before I go back to work tomorrow, which this time off has been absolutely incredible. Going to be taking off got an interview for a different job essentially tomorrow, which will allow for international travel, which I think would be a good idea for me because then I don't have to pay for the travel myself and I can make videos internationally with strangers, with people, with essentially documenting my travels and getting paid for that while getting paid to interact and manage people as well. So I'm not having to be in a sales role essentially, because I figure why pay for the travel myself when I can have somebody else pay for it for me and I still get to travel and I get to see the world. So I have a good that should be good. That'll happen tomorrow essentially. But yeah, today was good. Ran into a couple of old guys at the park, not like super old, like in their 50s, and they're talking about how it's like, yeah, somebody in their 30s, like we always thought that person was old, that person was wise, that person had more experience. And as I'm getting up to that age, like got 3 more years and 2.5 years until I'm at 30, which is crazy to think. It's crazy to think. Wow, it's crazy. But essentially, like my whole 20s it's been a roller coaster to say the least. I'd do it over again if I had the opportunity to. The men that I ran into today, like we ran in, talked to them for a bit. Like I asked them if there was actually an audience for the type of content that they want to, and they were talking about how there is they were thinking that it was more for like their generation, not necessarily like the younger generation. When I was like wanting to share like their stories, the stories of the older generation, to be like, hey, like this is what hard work gets you. Like this is how far you can actually get by actually putting in work and not just having things handed to you, and actually like teaching old school values to like the new generation, which I think a lot of kids will find value in that. And as you can probably tell, like my videos, like they bounce around a lot. Like my days bounce around a lot. So for me going to this idea, to this idea, to this idea, to this idea, I do that because I want to try everything to be able to be like, okay, this is something that I can do. This is something that I can dedicate a lot of time to. Whereas a lot of people, a lot of my friends seem to be, they only seem to like do one thing. So they never actually get to try all these different things to see like, okay, do I actually want to do this or do I not want to do this? Whereas like for me, like I just like making videos. Like I just like talking to the camera. Like at least I'm becoming more comfortable talking to the camera. I like talking to people. So I figure I might as well like combine the two to be able to like have a story and be able to create my financial freedom, my freedom to retire early, doing it this way. So that's why I release these videos every single day for you guys. That's why I create these videos, is because I want to show you that like it's a journey. It's not this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do it, and like this is how it's going to get done. Maybe that works for some people. It's just never worked for me. Like I've always had to try different things. Like I've done anime, I've done finance, I've done drop shipping, I've done anything under the sun that you can name. And now it's just like, let's try this. Let's see what I can do. Like I've learned about psychology, I learned about people, learned about communication. Like I've learned about all these things, and now the information's finally starting to like, I guess, compound upon itself. And one of the guys I was talking to in the park today, he was talking about like how he never understood compounding, yet he put his money into the S&P 500, I believe, or at least into some sort of financial stock essentially, and it compounded upon one another. I believe the same thing happens with knowledge. Knowledge compounds upon itself. So like as I read like this book, then it can refer me to like this book, or it could refer me to this book, or like this book will refer me to this book. Like the same thing is, at least what I've been able to come to realize, is the same thing works with our thoughts and how we interact in certain situations. Like each thing, each experience that we have, it teaches us something new. And that experience then builds on top of the next experience, at least if you allow it to, which I've always allowed it to. I've always allowed for me reading the books that I read, like to put together pieces that like maybe weren't put together originally. And that's the crazy thing, is as I've gotten older, each and every single year that passes by is like, okay, so there's good here, something good, like I can use this. I don't know how I'm going to use this, but I can use this. I might not be able to use it right now. Like a lot of the sales books that I read, like I knew that they would be valuable, and then when I got into a sales job, they were incredibly valuable. people will tell you like you'll learn more like by doing one thing as soon as like you learn more by doing it than by reading it. And I agree to that to a certain extent. I do think you can learn a lot from like reading the books and you can prepare yourself more fully. It's just you won't 100% have it until you actually do it. Like me talking with strangers, like I didn't have this communication, like the ability to communicate with people as well as I do now. It's just I read certain books that helped me understand like how to have a conversation, what questions to ask, how to speak, like how to have these experiences that originally, like if I wouldn't have read those books, like it would have taken me years to be able to get to that point. So it's like, yes, you do want to pick up the phone or you do want to start the conversation. It's just sometimes books, in my personal opinion, can help out in more ways than like either you and I know. I can tell you that they are incredibly useful and incredibly valuable, and everybody should read more books. Not many people seem to read books, which is, I think, a downside and a fault. Can't do anything about that. All I can say is like, if you want to read books, let me know. I'll give you my recommendation of books down below, essentially. All I can say is like, I'm going to be spreading what I know, my knowledge, my experiences from every single day, as you've seen over the past 44 days. Like, there's good days and there's bad days. Like, that's just how life is. Like, there is going to be fantastic days ahead of me. Like, I know that. There's going to be other days where it's going to be completely devastating. That's why I like stoicism. That's why I like philosophy. That's why I like understanding, like, how to realize that, like, these are emotions that we all have. And sometimes you're going to be put in tough situations. Everybody has tough situations. Like, the guy in the park today, he told me to be careful what I wish for. And I was thinking about that. I was like, okay, what did he mean by that exactly? And I think I realized when I was just taking the shower is like, not everybody's as strong as me. Not everybody's as strong as I am to be able to go through the things that I've gone through. Not everybody is willing to keep going when somebody tells you something bad or that you're not doing it right or you shouldn't be this certain way. A lot of people, at least from what I could see and how I would, from what I can see, a lot of people would crumble. Like if you came in and lived a life of how I live my life, and I can attest to this because I tried to help my dad live a life as I do, like a couple of years ago, and he couldn't keep up. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing against him not doing that. Like, he's much older. He's not as in good a shape. Like, it's taken me time to be able to get to this point. All I'm saying is that if somebody actually truly wanted to live a day in my life and actually, like, do the things that I do every single day, you'd realize that, like, it takes a special type of person to do the things that I do. You can think that I'm not doing things. You can think that I'm not doing what is right in your type of view or however you may view it. All I can say is from my personal experience, like, if you want to spend a day with me, like, we'll wake up, we'll go to the gym, we'll work together, we'll run again. Like, I exercise 2 or 3 times a day, essentially. Like, go sit in the sauna, go do yoga, lift weights, go on a bike ride, like, sit and read, like, meditate, like, have quiet, like, don't use my phone in the bathroom. Like, there's all these things that I do that I think most people that I can see, like, if you guys are watching these videos and you made it this far, obviously this doesn't apply to you, and I'm glad that you've been able to make it this far. Most people would crumble. They wouldn't be able to maintain the strength and the level of life that I have been able to obtain. And that's okay. This life isn't for everybody. Not everybody wants to have something extraordinary. And I always used to believe that everybody needed this. It's just I've come to realize that some people want it and some people don't. And I'm somebody that does, and people that watch these videos, like, you guys want it just as bad as I do. And the point of me making these videos is to show, like, it takes time to be able to get to that. It's just to help me realize that, like, it takes time as well to build up this clientele, to build up any sort of, I guess, confidence or ideas, or show that, like, there's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days. Originally, like, I did these through journaling. Like, I wrote journals every single day, and I can link those down if you guys want me to. They go deep. They go really, really deep. It's self-work that I did a lot of it. Those don't necessarily encapsulate the same, I guess, emotion and depth as live videos do. Like live videos, like they can tell, like you can see, like, okay, I'm much more like up here today after talking to some people, whereas like yesterday, like I was down here after not talking to anybody. It's a different type of concept. It's a different realization that I guess I'm coming to. Like, I do still genuinely like love having my days alone, just to sit in the woods and sit in the forest and have that peace and quiet and not have to be talking with somebody every single day. It's just you can tell that once I do start talking, like there's much more, I guess, energy, much more confidence, essentially, in what I say when I'm speaking. It's just there has to be a fine balance. Like I can do these and then I can also do those other videos. Like there is no right or wrong way to do anything. It's just how I do things. And this is what's worked for me. I'm not saying it'll work for you or it'll work for somebody else. This is just what's worked for me, and I've been able to find massive amounts of success from doing it this way. So with that being said, there's one other thing that I wanted to cover. It was one of the other conversations. Yeah, just one of the guys in the park told me, he's like, yeah, we need more people like you. And I was like, thank you. Oh, the other thing, Alaska. I don't know what it is about Alaska right now. I've got a postcard from Alaska. I saw an Alaskan license plate today, and this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Today I saw a woman's T-shirt that had Alaska on the back, and then one of the guys that I was talking to was also like, yeah, I spent a couple of years in Alaska. And now that I think about it, one of the guys that a very long time ago, when I was going on my walks around the old gym that I would go to, he also flew planes in Alaska. Like, what is Alaska wanting me? What? I'm trying to figure out why I'm seeing Alaska. Because then there's another video of this guy on YouTube, and you guys can check out his channel. I believe it's like betting on Alaska, essentially. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe I need to bet on Alaska. Bet on Alaska, essentially. So like betting on myself, because that's essentially what the video was him betting on himself. Like these videos, they don't come out until 2024. Which I was going to say it might be a hindrance. I don't think it will be. And that's 3 months from now. Yeah, no. I'm keeping it as January 1st for these videos to be released. And then, because at that point in time, like, you guys can go like day by day by day, January through all the way to the end of the year. This is just kind of giving me a little bit of a head start, more or less. Because I know that there's people out there way smarter than myself that yeah. And you guys watching these videos are like, you're at a completely different level. And I'd love to talk with each and every single one of you one day. At least that's the hope. But yeah, I need to figure out, like, Alaska. What is it about Alaska? What is Alaska asking me? Why do I keep seeing Alaska? Am I supposed to take a trip to Alaska? Or am I supposed to bet on Alaska? I don't know. Figure that out. Talk to you guys tomorrow.